Hey, good morning, America, and good evening and good afternoon to the rest of the world. How's everybody today? Man, some of you guys are up early. I can see Preston. Man, you're up early, dude. What are you doing? And thanks for joining. How's everybody doing this morning? Where the hell is he? Yeah, sorry, I was trying to get all my ducks in a row. I got my it's 3 a.m. here, so it's one of those nights for me. So I just got myself some chocolate milk, which you're not going to have that around unless you have the kiddies in the house. So I had a little craving for half a cup of chocolate milk, some decaffeinated tea with a dash of milk and a dash of sugar. I know that's not bad. I not good. I looked for the honey, but I couldn't find the honey. And then I toasted myself a hamburger bun with some Philadelphia cream cheese. There you go. Get my twilight evening started. Oh, let me fix that problem for you, Misan. There you go. Problem solved. Is the audio for the fire there? If the audio is missing from the fire, let me know, and I'll go retrieve it. Hold on a second here. Hold on, I got some feedback. Get rid of the feedback. Turn up the campfire music. So there should be campfire, not music, flame sounds now. All right. So, so what the hell is it? Wednesday morning? I thought I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. I guess I kind of threw myself a ringer in my box by buying that Omega. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about it. I didn't think I'd be so excited about getting an Omega. I felt this excitement when I discovered the 1968 transitional. And when I put that together, I was just as excited, but excitement fades quickly. That was a year or two ago. And I mean, it's, as far as a new release goes, this Snoopy has got me a little excited. I noticed that some of you guys have decided to look into getting it, or have been getting on wait lists for it. Has anybody here in the chat working on getting that watch? 11 o'clock. Yeah, I don't want to see 11 o'clock anytime soon. Oh, that actually is the picture that I had up there, Geezer. I don't know if I can show it while I'm... I don't... Can I show it? Wait a minute. It's not going to let me show it. Hold on. No, it needs to be an overlay. I'm very narrow-minded when it comes to the watches. I mean, I'm not narrow-minded. I'm broad-minded when I'm looking at them. We talk a lot about a lot of different brands. I mean, there was quite a few months during the COVID that we didn't even talk about Rolex at all. But I think that for the most part, a lot of people are scared to go gravitate to another brand, like myself. I'm trying to bring up a picture of what my home thumbnail was so I can show you. Answer Geezer's question. He says, was that a Porsche engine? That was my that was the projection room in my dad's old theater. I found a picture of what it looks like now after the theater's been sitting abandoned all these years. It's quite sad. But that was the projection room that I used to work in when I was a kid. I actually worked in that room. I'll try to find it another day. But yeah. Here's the current watch box as it stands. So those are my main watches. I don't have any interest in the new Kermit. What about you, Cartel? It seems like you might, if you're asking about it, huh? Is it because Archie put a lot of hype into it lately? Just the last couple of days? I just watched that video before I came on. He didn't buy a Kermit. He looks like he's lusting after one at the moment. I mean, as you can see from the photo, I have 3 sub dates already. I don't think, no matter what they come out with, I'm not going to go for a 4th one. It's just not going to happen. Now, if I didn't have, maybe if I was one shy, or if I didn't have the green one, then yeah. But I don't have any interest in it, not because I don't like it. It's because I've already got 3 sub dates. But I think if you are in the market for a sub, and you then by all means, why not? Why not? Nice. Hopefully you get there. You know, it's not all about how much you spend. It's not all about how much you spend. Contrary to what everybody says. So let me knock that myth down right now. And let's talk about this. This is a good topic. Here we go. We found a Cartel from Hell helped us find a topic to talk about. Okay. Let me type the topic on the screen. Again, wait lists. How they work. Talk about that. It's not always about being the heavy hitter. It's not always about how much money you spent at that particular store. I'll give you an example. It can be about what's on your wrist. It can be about what's on your wrist and the image you have given to the person that you've walked into and met. So my Snoopy, the Snoopy that I'm getting, I've been talking to the same boutique manager for 3 years. So much so that I don't even recall all the times I go and visit. For instance, when I was bringing this up with my wife a couple of days ago, she said, "Oh yeah, I had champagne with you and him. He offered us, we sat down and had champagne with him there in the boutique." I don't even remember that day. I never knew he offered us champagne and we had champagne. So he I used to go into that boutique quite often when I had my heavy hitting, banging Omega Constellation. There you go. I had a brand new 38 millimeter solid rose gold Constellation that he was selling the same watch in the store for $38,000 MSRP, $38,000. So I'm going in there with an Omega already on my wrist, and it's basically their most expensive watch in their store. So I think he immediately elevated me to the VIP Omega status. You know, I gave him my business card. He gave me his. I got into the system. And that's how that worked for me with this Omega Snoopy. I never even got on a wait list. He took it upon himself to put me on the wait list just in case I called so that he could make me happy and tell me, man, I already put you on there and you're going to get the watch. That's exactly what happened. He was very forward thinking in customer service and understanding his business. Really. I mean, that's a forward thinker. That's a real forward thinker. And there you go. He made me an Omega customer. Because what did I say in last night's stream? I said, I'm going to make sure I get on every waitlist piece that Omega comes out with from now on. That, for one, every Snoopy, that's for sure. And maybe there'll be pieces in between the Snoopy releases that I'm going to want to get in on. So there you go. I acquired a waitlist piece without even having ever spent $1 at a particular store. And I'm sure there's other stories out there, plenty alike, that other watch collectors can tell you the same. They just went in and hit it off with the guy or gal, and they made out that night, or they became lifelong friends, or now they go to ball games together. You never know how a relationship starts and how you end up getting your watches. So don't underestimate your personality, the scope of the relationship, where it can lead, where it can go. Just always be open-minded and friendly about the whole thing, you know? Yep. Laura blah blah has ordered a Batgirl Pepsi and not a Kermit. Gotcha. I keep telling my AD representative that I'm definitely not interested in any new releases. So all the heat can come off you for that. Let's not make your job very difficult. I just want a Panda Daytona, or a Pepsi, or a Green Dial Daytona. Let's not make your job too difficult. We don't need any new releases. Except he did order me the turquoise Tiffany dial OP in 41, which quite frankly, I have no interest in that watch. My wife has told me she doesn't want it now after we ordered it. So that may be the first watch I actually become a flipper upon. But I don't know how that would work out. I don't know if I would want to flip it, because I don't know how a 2020, I've never flipped a watch, and I don't know how a 2020 card and the technology hidden in that card, is it going to affect me if I flip that watch? Look, I've never flipped a watch. I've never even, I've only sold one watch ever from my collection. And I certainly don't want to go on record as a flipper getting rid of one stupid OP just because I really didn't want it, not to make money. Just because my wife doesn't want it now, I don't want to be blacklisted over an OP. So to be honest, when he calls me, and even though I know it's going for double MSRP right now, there's a good likelihood I'll tell him, you know what? I don't want it, because I'm not going to try to flip it to make $3,000 and ruin my blacklist myself. Is it even worth the risk? So I'll tell you what I would do is, if I get that Tiffany OP and if I do flip it, I'm selling it without the card. You don't want it, you don't have to buy it. You know what I mean? Whoever, when I throw it out there on there, I won't even reduce it $1. You buy it or don't buy it. Won't bother me a damn, you know? But I don't think I'll give up a card. If I ever get a 2020 watch, and I think a lot of you will experience this on the gray side now. I really doubt. I just think a lot of the watches will be coming without the cards. I don't think the owners are going to want to give the cards up. So, I feel very strongly about the card. I really want to guard my Rolex status, and I would not want to. I heard Showcase Watches talking about that the other day, how he's completely blacklisted from an AD because they know he flipped a Batman. So I really didn't pay too much mind as to whether that stuff was real or not real, but it is very real. So I certainly don't want to mess up my chances. So one would be more inclined to sell an older watch that doesn't have the new blockchain registered card. There won't be any way to ever erase your name from that blacklist. You know? What do you guys think about the card like that? Cartel agrees. Geezer says, or just sell it to a close friend, not a stranger. Yeah. Someone who really wants the watch. Yeah. I think so. So, I think, man, you know, I'm very happy with my box that I have on the screen. There's just a few watches that are not on here, but we don't really need to count them in the collection, right? For example, the ball watch with the Valjoux 7750 movement, I don't have it in here. You know, these are the watches that fit in this box, and they're not even in this box anymore. The Doxa, limited edition Doxa, I mean, you know, it's got an EDA movement in it. It's a Doxa. It's not worthy of being shown here in the picture, right? So we got the ball and the Doxa. Just set those aside. And I have a Heuer vintage stopwatch, pocket watch. So for the most part, this is my collection up here. This is an updated picture because it shows my Daytona gone. The steel Daytona that has been sold. It's not in here. And it shows the Polar 1016 in here in its stead. So that's what I'm sitting on. 7 Rolei, 1 Omega, 1 Patek, and 1 Genève. I mean, that's a fair box, right? This is a box I've lost $0 on, right? I can't possibly lose any money on this box. And I can feel comfortable going forward in my watch collecting, having these, and not being scared about buying an FP Journe. Because is it scary to spend $40,000 on a watch? Yeah, man, it's scary. Sometimes I regret that decision, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, man, are you sure you want to do this, buddy? You're not working anymore? Are you sure? But then I reassure myself that it's okay, because good Lord, if something goes wrong and I need the money and I made the mistake of spending $40,000 in FP Journe, I might not like having to get rid of my Rolex, and I might want to get rid of, I might prefer to get rid of my FP Journes first, and it might not happen that way because of marketability. But if at the end of the day, if I have to get out, I feel that I can get out of all the I can get out of 9 out of 10 of these watches that you see on the screen with a profit. Even in the worst of times, I wouldn't incur a loss on a Daytona. Look, even if we went into hell in the economy right now and stayed in hell and didn't recover for 5 years, my Daytona on the screen right there will never go down below $15,000, which I only paid $13.5 for it. But that Daytona will never go below what I paid for it. I don't care what happens. Nobody can make a theory, contemplate. No way in hell that Daytona, even in the worst of times, will ever go to MSRP. Not even if we were invaded in a world war. I'm talking the worst scenario you can imagine. That Daytona will never go to $13,500. So I'm just saying that, man, if I ever needed to recover, I can sell that Daytona and get my full pop back. I can sell that Batman to the right of it and get my full pop back. I can sell the Hulk all the way to the left and get my full pop back. Same with the 1016 up above and the President. Those could all be sold within 3 hours. Within 30 minutes. Those could all be sold to a dealer in the worst financial situation possible, in the worst of economic circumstances in the world. I would be able to sell those 5 watches I mentioned and at least get my money back and probably make a profit. Worst case scenario. So that being said, if you remove the Hulk, the Daytona, the Batman, the President, and the 1016, I'm only at risk in my watch collection, the balance. So put that in your mind and look from left to right at the top. The Universal Genève. Yeah, nobody even going to want to buy that fucking thing. I mean, it's a great watch. There's nothing wrong with it, but come on, man, you know? All right. The Patek, actually, I could put the Patek there. I'll always get my money back for that Patek. That Patek's gone up $5,000 already since what I paid for it. So let's put the Patek in the category of guaranteed return on your money if I ever needed to sell that too. That's without a doubt. You know, the Omega, it's always going to be worth what I paid for it. But, you know, getting rid of a vintage watch, it's like the Genève. Totally. And it's not a Rolex. So, and then if you go directly south of that watch in the middle position down below, the Rolex sub-date, you know, always going to be wanted, always going to be desired. It's always going to be sellable. But I certainly, in a worst economic time, would take a loss on that. You know, would it go down to 7,000, that Rolex sub-date? 7,000, 8,000, 6,000? Absolutely, it could. I'm saying the other watches I mentioned cannot. They'll never go below what I paid for them. But that sub-date can easily go below the 9,800 plus the service. I mean, I paid 10,800 now for that watch in total. Easily. It's only worth that much now. So I'm only at risk in my collection a $10,000 sub you know, a $12,000 Omega 22, you know, a $5,000 Genève, you know, 27. And the other in the ball and the Doxa that I'm in. So I'm basically only at risk here 30 grand in my watches. 30 grand. Okay. And the 30 grand that I'm in on these watches, those watches can't go to zero. I mean, if those watches I mentioned go down 50%, then I've lost only $15,000 over my entire collection if I had to get all out. You see? Now, the FP Journe would be a different beast. Who knows where that market will go? Up, down, all around. I'm taking a risk in the Journe that I'm buying. And this is the point that I'm trying to bring up here. This is watch collecting strategies, right? This is watch collecting strategies, what we're talking about here. The risk I'm taking in the Journe, I feel it's a comfortable risk in that, see, I'm coming full circle here, everything I've explained. So it's a comfortable risk in that if I ever came onto financial hard times, if I ever realized, man, you are such an idiot for spending all this hard-earned money on a bunch of watches, if that ever happened, okay, maybe I'll get stuck with the FP Journe. It'll be my one watch left forever, my Havana dial, okay? Will I be able to sell it for 30? Will I be able to sell it for 25? Man, I'll always be able to sell it. I'll just take another $15,000 loss on it. And my overall collection, I'll lose 30,000. Man, that's not bad. That's not bad, you see? But that's where what I'm basically trying to say. I've minimized the risk in a fairly large collection in my mind. To me, this is a significant net worth to me. This is a big collection to me. And I think I've balanced it out predominantly in Rolex and secured my love for the hobby to allow me to continue to collect. And as a matter of fact, buying up all these Rolexes and securing this much value in them and them going up and appreciating has gave me the ability to reach out and touch FP Journe. If I didn't have all of that appreciation built into this box right now, I gotta say, I'd probably be not buying that Havana dial. I'd be much more hesitant to pull the trigger. I wouldn't feel comfort because I wouldn't have the confidence in knowing that, hey, I've got a box of watches here that have never appreciated. They're just all the same value. If I ever get out of them, I'm going to sell them for a 30-40% cut to the dealer. But that's not the case. If it was the case, I wouldn't even be ordering a Chronometra Blue. You see? So the fact that I went to Rolex and they happen to go up by luck gave me the opportunity to enjoy some higher horology. I'm going to take the leap and bound and spend that big money and go for it because I know I can always get out of these lesser pieces and recoup. Is there any confirmed information about traceability, or is it just a rumor? I don't even think there's a rumor. I'm the one who's saying that there is something. I believe there is traceability in it. I don't know if anybody else has said that or not. Has Paul Thorpe discussed the card at all? I don't know if he has. He'd be the only one that I would think of that would discuss that issue. I'd be curious to know if he has a video about that and what he says. But I'm certain there's a blockchain technology in there because I already know that Vacheron Constantin was the first brand to introduce blockchain technology to the serial numbers. and to their certificates. So if you buy a Vacheron Constantin watch right now, the watch might be forged, but the certificate can't be forged. So I'm sure Rolex isn't, the last on the train, the last on the bandwagon, the last one to get on the bus. There's got to be some accountability there, Mac. But I certainly don't want to be the first fool to flip a watch, especially when I'm not a flipper. Let it happen to a flipper. Let them get, I don't want to be the one. And, especially when I'm not a flipper, and then I'm going to be in there begging them and be like, look, I have all my watches. This was the only one. My wife didn't want it. I really didn't need the money. I mean, it just, yeah, you don't want, why open up a can of worms, man? Holy smokes. Daytona ceramic will be the last to drop. Yeah. You can see by the bottom row in my box that those were all my first watches, the bottom row. I went for the same look, the same watch, the same style. My first watch was the sub date in the middle. The second watch was the bluesy to the left. The third watch was the green Hulk to the left. I mean, my first 3 watches were sub dates. No variety other than just color. I loved Rolex subs. And then when I bought all the Rolex subs, I said, well, what's the next Rolex that I can get that looks closest to a sub, mind you? You're going to see the growth in my collection developed. I only wanted Rolex subs. Okay. What's the next watch I can buy that looks closest to a Rolex sub, but isn't a Rolex sub? Well, there you go. All the way to the right. I'll be damned if it doesn't look like a Rolex sub to me. It looks exactly like a Rolex sub, except for the bezel, the Batman. So, I mean, that's what I did. I was addicted to that bezel. The Rolex bezel is what got me hooked. All about the Rolex bezel. Out of my entire watch collection, which one does my wife like the most? I think the bluesy. So I'm looking at all these and thinking about them. I'm going to guess and say the bluesy. Hey, Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, are you going to get the new Snoopy? That's a good question for Charlie Brown, right? No, that's not true. I disagree, Charlie. I mean, they'll never go below. The watches that I mentioned will never go below what I paid for them in the worst of times. If people are jumping out of the windows because of money, the watches I mentioned will still not go below MSRP. No way. Because you know why? Because there's enough people who have money that don't care about the people that are jumping that don't have money. That's for sure. The whole world can be at bay, suffering, children starving in the street in front of you, and you'll still walk by with a Rolex on your wrist and not put out $5 to feed somebody. That's the way the world works. So these watches will always have a market, baby. They always will. You can go back and look at luxury goods. They do go up and down. But man, They go up way more than they go down, baby. Luxury goods have a special niche economic cycle for themselves, you know? But I know what you mean. That's why I look at this. That's why, Charles, I agree with you in the sense that, yes, the Universal Genève, nobody's going to want it. Nobody will probably want my Calatrava. Nobody will probably want my vintage Omega that I feel is so special, you know? But that 1016, man, I think you'll be hard pressed to ever find a 1016 under $10,000 again. You know, I think those days are gone. And we're throwing inflation completely out of this discussion, because just the mere fact of inflation is going to keep these prices at their, you know, dollar values. But will they become worthless as a result of inflation? They got to keep going up. They got to keep going up to maintain their value. They can't just stay the same, right? So, boy. Yeah, I think we're in a world of trouble coming, but it's so hard. I mean, you can't predict anything. I mean, it seems like they're snipping this COVID-19 in the butt, and if they get rid of it as quick as they're doing, then they've pumped this economy with lots of extra monies. We might get through it all, and on the other end, we might end up with a 40,000 Dow Jones Industrial Average. We could be sitting here 1 year from today, next Halloween, looking at a 40,000 Dow Jones Industrial Average. Don't be surprised. The market doesn't trade on fundamentals. It never did. The market trades on technical analysis. You know, man, I've been smoking so much lately. The back of my throat burns. And with Eddie Van Halen getting that throat cancer, man, it kind of making me worry a bit. Because I've smoked a lot more than you guys think in my life, but probably as long as Eddie Van Halen has. But he's 17 years older than me. One of those things. So let me roll another cigarette while I talk about that. Archie mentioned in his stream today about the Kermit, how he loves it because it's such a durable all-around watch. He would love to have it. It's usable, right? He can lightly bang it around and not worry about it. Oh, thank you, Charles. Appreciate you saying that. Well thought out. Thank you. You know, I bought one piece at a time. One piece at a time. And man, you know what? You guys have seen me go so wishy-washy on my collection. You know, I mean like wishy-washy. I mean like back and forth, you know? I mean, I just bought the damn 1016 and I've been trying to get rid of it. And now I'm not going to sell it, right? Now I'm not selling it. I've been wanting to get rid of that Omega, that 68 Omega Speedmaster. Are you kidding me? Now that I have the Snoopy coming, there's no getting rid of that 68 Speedmaster now that I have a Snoopy coming. Why? Because now it's like a collection. Now it's a collection. Now I got a vintage, a rare vintage Speedmaster, and then I got a really cool 50th anniversary model. You know? It just, yeah. Man, yeah, I ain't getting rid of either one of my Omegas now. So it's just so crazy how my mind has just played back and forth with me. Buy this, sell that, change this, change that. And in the end, it looks like I made all the right purchasing decisions, and I don't want to get rid of anything that I have bought, which makes you feel that much more happy, you know, more secure in your purchases, that you didn't buy anything you don't really want. Yeah, that's why I thought when Archie did the video on the Kermit, that's why I thought, Stevie, that that it was his. Maybe he does have it coming because someone offered to give him that watch at MSRP. I think he's reluctant to act on that because he doesn't want to get scammed. He doesn't, but maybe it's really going to happen, and he's building us up for that, right? Maybe he's building us up for that. Oh, congratulations, Cartel. Congratulations, man. Watches are in a bubble because the average Joe is getting into them. You think the average Joe is getting into watches? I don't know. I think it's the same people. I think it's the same old people. I don't think the average Joe buys a watch. You know, when you think about your day and you go about your day and your travels, how many people do you see wearing a Rolex? It's very few and far between. It really is. And usually when I see someone wearing a Rolex, it's usually someone older than me. It's usually some old fogey, and he's usually wearing an old Datejust. He usually isn't even wearing anything cool. He's wearing something I would never even touch. So I got to be honest, I don't see those watches in America. I don't know where they're at. Do you guys wonder the same thing ever? Oh, he actually is in possession of one. I didn't know that. I didn't see him holding an actual Kermit. Was he? Maybe I didn't see the right video. I just watched the live stream. I looked for a video that said I got a new Kermit, but I didn't see one, so. The cricket decided to give us a break. Thank you, cricket. I didn't realize how irritating that was until he stopped. Man, yesterday I moved a box and there were 3 crickets underneath it. And those were the 3 crickets that have been cricketing in here for weeks. They don't leave. They just stay in the garage. What do crickets eat? Dust? I don't know how they survived in here without food. So, yeah, am I done with Rolex? I kind of got to be done with Rolex at some point. Okay, I'm thrilled to death that there's no 2020 releases that I want. Well, that's not true. There's the yellow dial OP. Okay. I'm getting the blue dial Tiffany. So what do I need to do? How do I gotta flip that blue dial Tiffany without the 2020 card to somebody and convince them, look, you're going to keep the watch. You don't need the card. If you really want the card, I'm a watch collector. I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to have the card. And if you really want the card, baby doll, in 5 years, Or if anytime there's a problem with the watch and you need a repair under that warranty, hook up with me and I'll get you the card. Show me the watch isn't working and I'll give you the card so we can get it fixed. I'll go in with you and we'll put it through my name or something. I mean, I'll figure it out. But that might be a way. If I could get the damn Tiffany dial that I'm getting for $6,500 and flip that for $12, and then use that to buy a yellow dial outright, so I don't come out of pocket for a yellow dial OP. So I think the yellow dial OP is the only one that I want. The only other watch that I want besides a Panda and a Pepsi. So at some point I will get a Panda. At some point I will get a Pepsi. And then I guess let's just throw in the yellow dial OP in there. So those are 3 Rolexes I can see adding to my collection one day. Those are the only 3 Rolexes I can see. Can anybody else think of another Rolex that I've mentioned that I would want, or you guys would think you would want if you had this box? Or what watches are you looking at that I don't like or have, or you think I don't like, or I might like? What Rolexes inflate your bubble? The Panda, the Pepsi. Those are the 2 that I kind of want. Green dial Daytona geezer. Yep. I've told the dealer I would take that. The white dial Daytona, the blue dial white gold Daytona. I love that one more than the green dial Daytona. Shit though, but those solid gold watches are so expensive just to pull the trigger on. You know, when the AD calls and says, "I've got a Pepsi," you know, no problem, just throw it on my AD account and I'll pay it off monthly. You know, it's 10 grand. It's like, throw it on there. I don't even need to think about it. But 40 grand, Jesus, that's a completely different story, geezer, man. You know, yeah, just throw that on there. You know, it's so much easier to pay off a $10,000 debt than a $40,000 debt. Have you guys ever felt the difference? Man, it is a $10,000 debt is a breath of fresh air. I always worked my life, you know, in $10,000 debt increments. Man, I never let myself go over $10,000 in debt because I always knew it's so hard to pay amounts larger than that off. It's so easy to kill a $10,000 debt, dude. I can kill that in 2 months. But you know, 40,000, boy, that's different. The Tiffany dial OP, you know, I have that one coming, Laura blah blah. I said that right, huh? Laura blah blah. I've got that Tiffany dial coming. Man, you know, I'll throw that sucker on my wrist, but I'm pretty certain about what I told Bud. I mean, you know, I told Bud the other day, I said, man, bro, I don't know, you're going to get it. And I mean, I told him it's a chick's watch. It's a chick's watch. What do you want me to tell you? You want me to lie to you, bro? You know, I really went against telling him to go against getting it. It's not like he needs to get it to flip it to make a couple of grand. So we're just talking about the watch itself, right? Because everybody knows you can get it, make a couple of grand on it. It's not even worth a couple of grand. The hassle, the possibility of losing the watch in the transit. Just why? Just go to work for an extra few days. So I just think that it's definitely a chick's watch. I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I mean, that Tiffany dial, I love the Tiffany color. I love that color, but I'm a guy. I mean, you know, I love pink too, but I'm not going to buy a bunch of pink stuff out of nowhere all of a sudden. I mean, so if I throw it on my wrist when it comes and it's strikes me as it could be a neutral gender watch. Maybe I'll keep the damn thing. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But I'm of the inclination that it's definitely a chick's watch, and I'm gonna want the yellow, regardless, to match the Porsche. Maybe because worst case scenario, your $10,000 debt is selling off one watch. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's so easy to cover a debt with one watch. Yeah, the Rolex is so great, Rolex is so great. And rubber B, I got to tell you, props to the rubber B straps. I love the rubber B straps. Should I throw a rubber B strap on the Submariner in the middle? I'm going to do it, man. You know what? I'm going to do it. You know why I'm going to do it? Because I don't ever wear the damn black sub date. I've been forcing myself to wear the black sub date. I've been forcing myself to wear it to prove to myself that I want it and need to keep it. But how much do you want to bet that if I throw a rubber B on there and they have an option for that black sub to keep the glide lock clasp on there, so it's going to be a deployant. It's going to be a rubber B deployant, no tang buckle on that black sub date. How much you want to bet if I throw an all black deployant on there, I'm going to wear that sucker every day. I'm going to want to wear it every day. The only thing is it's my only bracelet Rolex now. Damn, it's my only Rolex on a bracelet. I think I'm being very decisive in saying that I don't like bracelets. I think it's just I don't like bracelets. What's up, Nate? You got your Harrods Tudor on. I love that watch. Man, that's a great watch. Look. Tudor's great. There's no reason for me to go there, but that Harrods Tudor, man, would be a reason to go there. If you're going to get one Tudor, that's the one to get, man. It's a good looking watch. That green, come on, man. That green is just, that's the right one to get. I love that watch. The only Rolexes I'm remotely interested in are Black Dial Explorer 39 and the sub no date. But even if I had to make it while the AD's piss about, I'd rather buy something else. Yeah. The Black Dial Explorer 1, 39, and the sub no date. Yeah. I wish my black sub date was a no date. I wish I could go back in time and have made my first watch purchase, that one there. I wish it was a no date because I want a sub no date. But I kind of blocked myself. I prohibited myself from being able to get one because I've got the black sub date, my first watch. I'm tied to it, sentimental. So I can't sell it and I can't replace it. Hence, I'm blocked from ever adding a Submariner to my collection. The only way I can appropriately appropriate funds to a all Submariner would be to go to a vintage, like a 5513. That would justify adding another sub to the collection. But that would just be extra money spent on a watch I probably wouldn't wear. So just going to stay away from the subs. I think I'm kind of done with the subs. What's up, Raj? How are you, Rajiv? Yeah, you know, Steve, I mean, I could. I mean, I think I could easily get $11,000 for my sub date right now. Yeah, I mean, I could, Stevie, you know. People like my wife are telling me, man, if you sell that watch, you are going to so regret that. That is your first Rolex. You never thought you were going to get another watch. You never thought you were going to make more money to be able to afford another watch. Yeah. I never thought I was going to make enough money to buy another watch other than that first one. That's the God honest truth. It was so hard to get that first watch. I think that's why I got addicted to getting the watches, because it was something that was unattainable. And then when I got one, and once I got the second one, I wanted to, it was some kind of a weird obsession, probably an unhealthy one, that I needed to be able to prove to myself that I'm successful, or I can keep buying them, or something was going on, man. But whatever it was, I'm glad it happened. The Blue Beagle, not the Blue Snoopy. It's going to be called the Blue Beagle. You, Patreon. So getting that new Omega Snoopy, what a twist on this collection that's going to make, isn't it? It's certainly going to add a beautiful little color splash up in the top row next to that other Omega. A white silver dial with a Blue Beagle. I'm more excited to get that watch than I've ever been for any other watch. I got to be honest. I'm not sure why. Maybe because of the animation, the goofy animation in the back. I guess they got me with that stupid little gimmicky thing in the back. They got me. Oh, that's right. Tony's going to get the, you got on the wait list for it. Did they tell you how long it might be, Tony, before you might see that in your hand? I didn't ask. You'll be surprised. I didn't ask. I assumed I was on the very first wait list, because from the way Bud told me when he asked, they told him we want a full deposit for all the watches we're securing for the future. But the watches that are coming in right away, they only needed a 30% deposit. They didn't need a full deposit. Actually, I don't even know what the deposit was. I just gave my credit card. So I don't know if it was 10, 15, 20, 30. I don't know what he charged. I never looked. He never told me. He just said, I need your card for a deposit. And he took it and he ran it. So I'm thinking I'm getting mine next month. I think I'm getting mine next month, baby. I think I'm getting mine next month, man. Late 2021. Oh, shit. Sure, you gotta wait a whole year. You gotta wait a whole year. I don't know what you mean, blah, blah, blah. The crazy French chef. I don't even know what that means. Only a handful being made? Well, why do you say that? What's the dibs on that? What's the haps with the craps, man? Speak to us, baby. What do you mean only a handful being made? I would think that this is a big production watch. I read in a comment somewhere, I think on the Archie Luxury channel, someone wrote a comment and said that they heard there was going to be this many made over this much time. Hence, there would be about 10,000 made in total. If that's true, wouldn't 10,000 be a considerable number and it wouldn't really be that limited at all? Or would you consider 10,000 to be quite very extremely limited, considering how many Submariners are made and how many Hulks are made and how many Daytonas are made? Is 10,000 very limited when you consider the overall picture? Because I know we don't ever consider in our hobby, we don't ever consider limited being anything over 2,000, right? So where does 10,000 put you on the scope of things here with this as far as being limited or not limited? If that's the case, if it would indeed be 10,000. First allocation was sold before it was leaked, according to my AD. Well, I mean, I would think the first, second, third, fourth, fifth allocations of these would technically be sold, though, right? I mean, I think everybody would have had to assume that because it's the Snoopy. Because the other one went up to $45,000. Why didn't Omega make this a limited press, though? Why didn't Omega make it limited? Omega is doing a Rolex, so they're going to try to make it limited from another perspective, from the boutique perspective, as Rolex and Patek have done and AP have done. They've called this a boutique piece. It says on the website, indeed, that it's a boutique piece. You would have to, it says, inquire with your nearest boutique. It says that on the website. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Tony. Low production, but not limited edition. Well, you know, I like that. I like that. Since it looks like I'm getting one, I like that. I can't say I'm going to want them to make it a high production watch. Omega doing more limited edition equals bad image. So in other words, let's just make the watch, make it hard to get, make it boutique, and let people call it limited. Let them call it limited. Let the customers make it a limited watch. Let's not us give it any limitations. It makes sense. It's kind of like reverse psychology, isn't it? Fuck, it is reverse psychology. Bastards. 10,000 is mass produced, but probably will still do well because of high demand. Right. These aren't watches people flip. The Snoopies are watches people bought, hold dear to their heart, Charlie Brown, and they keep them. Especially once the price moved on them, even in the slightest, people said, "Oh man, I'm keeping this." And as it kept sliding up, the price kept going up. They're less inclined to sell the dang watch because there's no ceiling on the dang thing. Once they seen it go to $45,000. That's going. Do you realize that second edition series Snoopy is going for as damn nearly as much as a vintage Daytona? You can get a vintage Daytona for $55,000. Imagine having spent 10 grand on that Snoopy and then trading it in for another 10 grand out of pocket and paying 20 grand for a 6265. I mean, I wanted that damn watch when it was $16,000. I wanted it so bad because of the damn Snoopy silver thing in the back. I wanted it as much as I want that damn 50th anniversary bug with the Buzz Aldrin jumping out at the 9 o'clock dial, the one I was talking about yesterday, because it has that footprint on the back, the laser engraved footprint on the back of that 50th anniversary with the moonshine gold. I want that moonshine gold footprint watch as equally, no less, no more than I want that second series, the Snoopy that I missed out, that one that's $45,000. I like them. I like that other one just as much. That's how much I liked but that tells you how much I liked them both. The gimmicky stuff on the back, it wouldn't get me with any other watch, you know? It's not a fishy pussy, you know? But with the Omega and the space program, they got me. They got me with that. So, yeah. Way more exciting than the 2020 Rolex release. Exactly. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's true. Patek doesn't come out with... Well, they kind of do come out with a lot of limited editions. You know, the limited editions that Patek comes out with, they're what do you want to call them? Limited global editions. Like they always come out with stuff in Asia that we never see here. You know, like they have the New York edition World Time. What else do they have that's United States based besides the New York edition World Time? I mean, is that the only damn thing they gave to the United States was one watch, the New York World Time? They have 50 iterations of Chinese homage watches, Patek Special Edition, Singapore, you know, this and that. I mean, even F.P. Journe has one, the France China watch, honoring the 50th, I think 50 years of, or 25 years of French embassy, Chinese embassy relations or something. Yeah, 1970 pieces for the second edition. Does anybody know how many they made for the first edition Snoopy? Anybody know? I found, I'll tell you what I think is interesting. Isn't it interesting that the first edition Snoopy hasn't gone up above $10,000? Isn't that watch settled at around $9,500 and it hasn't moved? That first edition Snoopy? Is that true? And does anybody know how many pieces they made of that first edition Snoopy? It's the least fun of all of them. because all it has is just a print on the back and a print on the 9 o'clock dial. And that's exactly why nobody's picking it up, because it's just a print. It's nothing special. I'll tell you right here and now, that watch is drastically undervalued. That watch should be easily double. I just want to know how many of them they made before I like commit to that statement. Does anybody know how many they made of the first Snoopy? Yeah, it is an expensive watch, Charles. So it is a matter, yeah, definitely. So it isn't like someone's buying it just to buy it. You know, you're paying twice as much for it than a normal Speedmaster. So there better be some love in that watch. Look, you know, I'm from the 80s. I grew up during Ronald Reagan when I was in elementary school, and I was in ninth grade when the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster happened, and we watched it live on air. And my teacher cried. My Mr. Stevenson, my drafting teacher, my architectural teacher. We were I was in architectural class, and he cried, and he turned off the TV immediately after, and he said, "We're all going to be going home," and I don't even want to talk about it. That was a terrible day. That was like 9/11. But I've been always a fan of the space stuff. I don't have any space memorabilia. I don't have a damn thing that has to do with space. Nothing. So I've never collected any space memorabilia. This will be my first space memorabilia of any kind. Will be this Snoopy watch that's coming now. Unless you want to count the Omega that I have now as a pre-moon. It's got, I guess that has some significance. So maybe I got a couple of things tied now to space. No, nothing's for sale, Tony. I know I've flip-flopped on that many times. I think the only thing I'm selling right now is the Doxa and the ball watch. And that Universal Genève up there in the upper left. If somebody really wants it, I'll part with the damn Universal Genève. But you know, I might flip a bitch on that too, and somebody might email me about it, and I'll say, sorry, I don't want to sell it because the damn thing looks in unworn condition. It's 70 years old, and I shit you not, it's an unworn condition. You can still read all the jewelry maker marks on the back. There's no way that would not be worn out if it was worn, even worn at all. So somehow I've got a mint example of a circa 1949 Universal Genève in solid gold. I probably should value that more than I do, because that's completely handmade. I mean, those two watches in the upper left, well, that's not true. Wait, which watches are handmade here? Okay, the Universal Genève is definitely handmade. That one's going to be the most handmade of any watch in the box, because in 1949, 1950, when they made that watch, it would be a fact that they had the least amount of machine instruments to make a damn watch, and technology, and no computers. So that Universal Genève is definitely 100% handmade, completely. Manufactured, assembled, the whole frickin' 9 yards. And then the next most handmade watch would probably be that Omega Speedmaster. There's a lot of handwork and assembly in that, right? And then maybe the Patek. And then same thing with the 1016 and the day date. So that entire top row of watches is going to have some element of hand handwork involved. None in the bottom row, but the top row, all are going to have some handwork involved, right? Oh, thanks, Steven. 5,400 pieces for the first Snoopy. Shit. Geezer, am I right? You think, you guys? You guys think that the that first Snoopy, it's undervalued like a son of a bitch right now? Is it not? European Watch Company has the second series for 42,500 right now. It's time to pull the show to an end. I've been going for a while, so we'll keep that mindset that we're going to end soon. And I'm going to look here and see what the old Snoopy goes for. I don't know. On Chrono. So yeah, $10,000. They've gone up $1,000. No box, no papers. What a bummer. Looks like people are hanging on to these. I like that watch too. You know what? That's a great looking watch. The first Snoopy. Shit. I'm telling you guys, man, these are the silent sleepers coming up right now. There's none for sale. United States. There's none of the first for sale. 10,000. No box papers, though. I mean, there is, but no box papers. No box papers, 13,500. Man, they're moving the price up. Son of a bitch. Watchbox has one for 13,500. So Watchbox is the first person to jump the price $3,500 above what it was basically yesterday. All right? No box papers. There you go. See? Look, I'm buying the new one that's coming out. So I certainly don't have money to go out and buy the first one right now. But I can tell you this. If I didn't have the new one allocated to me, I would be buying the first one right now in anticipation of it being a collector's piece and becoming worth $20,000. It's a clean looking piece too. Man, I miss working. I'd buy this piece full throttle, bro. Let me throw it on the screen. I'd buy this piece full throttle. No hesitation, man. That's a beautiful piece. There's nothing wrong with that logo at 9 o'clock. It's sharp. There's nothing wrong with it. Man, I didn't even know you could wear watches in Egypt, cartel. I didn't even know. I, I I had a little talk with Abdul about that because he was wearing all his watches. He took more than one watch, several watches, and he was wearing Rolex there. And he said, "No, it's totally cool, you know." Um, but but then again, he's very familiar with that place, and he's very fluent in the language and the customs and all. Bro, going there as a foreigner, I seriously would just take my doxa. I would take my doxa. I wouldn't sweat it. I wouldn't worry about it. I would take my doxa. I would take my doxa. The new one is dot over 90. Yeah. But I mean, what do you guys think about what I'm saying about this watch? Don't you think this watch is being underlooked? Look, I think people are waking up and looking at it literally this week. I'm telling you, the damn price was $9,500, and there is one right here. This one here that we're looking at is $9,300 or something, 10,300. So when I saw these a week ago, they were $1,000 lower. This is the only one on here. Watchbox has one for $3,000 more. No box, no papers, just the same. I mean, this quite literally could be the last one you see here for, you know, for about $10,000. The one we're looking at right here on the screen. You might never see this again. Just my opinion. Just totally my opinion. I mean, why hasn't this gone up? The other one's gone up $45,000. This one stayed at 10, and now Watchbox is taking it up to 13 and a half. So, do you just like the other one better? It's more trick with the dial comic stuff on it. Yeah, I understand all that. It's more limited. Okay, cool. Each one is different. I mean, the new one coming out is different than the second one. It's different than the first one. They're all different. This is the first one. Doesn't that make it sort of special? Even though it isn't the coolest one. I think the case back is cool, even though you're not wearing the case back. It's just a painted case back. But it's numbered. Like this one says right here, number 1548. There you go. It says it on the watch. 1,548 out of 5,441. So you even know the number of this one. This is number 1548. And there's no box and papers, you know, but you know what's the box and papers for this watch? That number right there. It's number 1548. That's the box and papers. That's the papers for that watch. That case back engraving is the paperwork for this watch. You don't need a goddamn paper for this watch. That is the paper. It's 1548 out of 5441. Someone asks you for papers, you turn the watch over and show them, go there. It's better than papers. That's metal. Am I right? You don't need papers for a numbered watch that's engraved on the back, man. Right? You can always get the Omega archive, the Omega extract or whatever. Oof. That's cool, geezer, but I do like the second one the most. That silver pin in the back is just to die for. It's so special, man. Oh shit, in Cairo, they even stole your Seiko. You know, that's why I'm so surprised, bro, that he takes the watches there. That's what I said. The dude knows the custom. He knows how to travel there. He knows that. From what I understand, some of the greatest pickpockets in the world roam the streets in Cairo. them 13-year-old pickpockets, those 8-year-old pickpockets. From what I understand, some of the greatest pickpockets in the world are there. I mean, they'll take that damn watch off your wrist while you're walking. Somebody will walk next to you while you're walking and bump into your wrist a couple of times. Next thing you know, your Rolex is gone. So, yeah, man. Doxa, man. That's all I would take there. Fuck. This is one of those situations where you can't buy everything. What can I tell you? You can't buy the world. You can't buy everything. I'm not wealthy enough to buy everything. You know how bad I want to buy this Snoopy right now, right here while I'm looking at it and talking to you? Do you have any clue how I'm busting my own balls right now looking at this watch? Do you guys have any idea how bad I want to just click on buy and buy it? Oh, I can always get rid of it later if I don't want it, right? No, that's how you end up with all this shit. Very cool. Very cool. You got to be content with what you got. What would be neat is if I sold my, what I would do, but if I could do it in a flash, I can't just do it in a flash. If I could sell my Omega 68 right now, Snoopy and the third Snoopy. I'm missing the second one, but at least I got the first and the third. I would do that. I'd sell my Transitional Speedmaster. I would do that. I would sell my Transitional Speedmaster and then buy this one, because I'd rather have the Snoopy space theme on two of them. That would be cool. That would be fun. Yeah, and then you end up like Archie with 6 Paddocks. Yeah, I know. It's so true, right? Stay disciplined. I don't know, Geezer. I don't know if Geezer. What in the world did Rich Buddy do? What did I do, bro? I took it to another level. Holy shoes, man. What did I do? Yeah, don't you think having the third is going to make you want the 1 and 2? It already is. It already is. Man, I wanted that second one badly when it was at 16K. You know how bad you kick yourself when and I just said to myself, man, really? People are paying 16K for that Snoopy? Why didn't I buy it? I just couldn't see myself spending. Look, I liked the watch and the whole NASA thing. I liked the NASA thing more than I liked the Peanuts Snoopy thing, because I never was a Snoopy Peanuts. I mean, I read the comics and all. I grew up reading it, but it's not like I bought any Snoopy dolls or anything shit like that, It was more the NASA thing, but it wasn't enough of a draw for me to spend 16,000 on Snoopy 2. It wasn't enough of a draw for me to spend 16,000. I considered it. Then when I saw it go up to 20, 24, that's when I said to myself, oh man, I mean, you should have bought it, you know, should have bought it. Couldn't have gone wrong. It's one of those things. And now the more you look at it, the more you appreciate it. And you say to yourself, wow, I mean, the dang watch has that gorgeous, a real silver pin in the back of it. I mean, wow. I knew it was special when I first wanted it. I knew for sure. I should have gone with my hunch. Always go with your gut instinct. Always go with your gut instinct. Look, if you aren't going to lose that much, I should have gone with my gut instinct. Yeah, the watch was 16 grand. If it was 11, I would have bought it. 16, I didn't want to buy it. But my gut told me I should have bought it. And, you know, would have been a $5,000 premium to take a chance with my gut. And usually your gut's right. So there you go. Hindsight proves that. I mean, I remember back then telling myself the watch is worth the money because of that silver medallion in the back. Who the fuck puts a silver medallion in the watch? So I knew it was special. I knew it was special. Man, Omega's numbers are just so freaking crazy. I haven't even no clue what watch that is you're talking about. I'll take a wild guess and say it's a Seamaster or a Constellation. No clue, man. I'm surprised you what do you got that number tattooed to you somewhere? You got that number tattooed to you somewhere? The Speedy Tuesdays had 2012 made of each. They're going for the cost of the latest snooker. Oh, yeah? Yeah, the NASA space thing too. Apollo 13. Yeah. Breakfast, I had toast with cream cheese at 3 a.m. Now it's about almost 5 a.m. I've been going for quite a while, guys. Probably need to kill it. I'm probably in a lot of pain and I don't know it. The medicine's just helping me not feel it. Yeah, well, always go with your gut. Always go with your gut. Yeah, this is the most excited I've ever been to receive any watch. I'm not going to lie. So this is going to be a keeper. This Snoopy 3 is going to be a keeper for the long run. I'm more excited about this watch than any Rolex I've ever picked up. So, yeah, there's 3 Snoopy Speedies from what I understand. This is the first one here on the screen. And then there's the second one everybody knows. Yeah. Yeah. Always go with your gut. Yeah. What's up, Mr. Arthur? How's it going, man? All right. Rolex Tex. I think I'm done, man. I'm exhausted. That live stream took it all out of me. I'm done. I think maybe I can go back to sleep. Thank you all for joining me for the discussion. It was a pleasure chatting with you all. And I'm just so excited about the Snoopy. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. You guys are probably fed up with Rolex, tired of hearing about Rolex. And you know, I'm a Rolex fanboy. There ain't nothing in my damn box other than Rolex. I mean, that's all I got up here is Rolex, right? So I think you guys are probably relieved. Breath of fresh air. Let's stop talking about Rolex for a little bit. We're going to be, that blue beagle is going to look nice in the box. It's going to add a nice blue white splash to the upper row somewhere. I don't know why, but my box looks boring. Am I crazy? It's just the lighting, isn't it? I think it's just the lighting. You know what? It's the damn brown box. It's the brown box. I need to get rid of the brown watch box. I think it makes all the watches look ugly. Yeah. I need a black box or purple or something cool. All right, ladies and gents. Be well. Thank you for joining. Agree to say. Adieu.